Everyone. Welcome to my version of Code Clinic Java series. My name is Kemal Gulpinar. I am a Java developer, junior Java developer, and the reason that I'm doing to Code Clinic Java series of my version is that when I see the tutorials in internet, I find them have a lack of elaboration and they are actually not good design for the detail, because the reason the code clinic is that for the developers it can be either beginners or intermediate levels. So I'm doing my version because I believe I can add more by using my own solution, and I'm going to do step by step programming. But apart from that, the main purpose of code clinic is not just how to code. Your approach, your algorithm behind each problem is also the important part. To understand the problem is the first and the most important step for the code clinic series. So as you know, code clinic series we got same problems for different languages. And our first problem is Pant Oreille. Pant Oreille is a river in, I think, in US. I don't know the exact location. I think it's in somewhere around Ohio, maybe. Well, it's a nice place. So what makes this river special is actually not the name or the location. It's all about the problem. The Pant Oreille problem is all about parsing data and from file and make a statistical report. So it could be either some other location, it could be either somewhere else. There is no specific reason. That's the Pant Oreille. But the reason is the problem is considered as a major problem is that we got a set of data is actually around 20 megabyte, and it consists of 300,000 records. So this is a challenge that we are going to do this. We are going to uh, make some calculations, weather calculations, by using this set of data. I would like to show the data with you first. Nothing specific on the data, but let me show it to you what makes this data. Well, we need to understand the problem first. I will going to talk about when I'm showing the data. Let me find it here. And yes, so our data is these are the tab separated file. So except for the first line, which is the header line, we have a records separated by tab. We get a date time, air temperature, barometric pressure, dew point, relative humidity, wind director, and wind speed, etc. So what we are going to do is we are going to make some statistical report that going to going to some side signs about the current trend between the given dates. For example, each record has some specific data and time, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to enter some two random date and nothing else, and I'm just my program going to tell them about the the weather trend, what kind of weather trend in this given data sense from user. And but I'm going to make a slope calculation. That's the problem pretty much. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a slope calculation by using date and time, sorry, by using date and time, and I'm just going to use barometric pressure, the difference between the barometric pressure, and I'm going to make a slope calculation, and based on the result, it could be positive, it could be negative, or it could be zero. I'm going to make an assumption about it. So let's take a look first. So when we talk about the problem, I want to actually talk about the problem first. So, well, so I want to talk about the problem first. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to open the other atom file or text file. So okay, what I'm going to do is I need to understand the problem first before starting coding. To understand the problem, I need to check the data set, and I got the data set here, and when I look to data set, I know what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a slope calculation. So first step, understand the problem. I'm not sure you guys are able to see. Try to increase the font. Okay, here we go. So first challenge is the understand. First challenge is the understand problem. And the problem is making a slope calculation by using time and barometric pressure differences. I'm going to make a slope calculation by using barometric pressure and the time differences. Then I'm going to find three different possible trends. Could be positive slope, means the trend is getting better, the weather is getting better. Zero, there is no significant change in the weather trend, and negative is the weather is just getting worse. That's all simple. So I know that I'm going to make a slope calculation, but let's take a look on the brief aspect. So how I'm going to do this slope calculation? So it's a basic math, but since this is a code clinic series and we're not just going to do the coding, we need to understand the problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some. I will have a graph, y-axis and x-axis, and I will have four different variable, two on the y-axis and two on the x-axis, and I'm just going to make as you know the slope calculation. I'm just going to divide these two differences each other. So my y-axis is barometric pressure. My x-axis time series. So given this date, not the time, actually the date, maybe we start with the date and then just drive into the time. Well, maybe we can start with the time. That's not the problem. It's just the parsing the data. So we're just using the y-axis as a barometric. This one is the barometric pressure, and yeah, date, time, air temperature, barometric pressure, and we're just going to use x-axis as a time and the y-axis as a barometric pressure. So when you look at the data, we got one advantage, or the only advantage in this problem, that the data is sorted. So I'm going to enter two random date. Well, I'm going to write the test cases actually. I'm not going to enter it directly, but when I execute the problem, I will be able to see my results based on my assumptions. So let's write it. Let's make sure everything on the paper before starting the coding the project. I'm going to do the coding one by one from scratch, step by step. So positive slope indicates upward trend. I know that if it's the slope, positive slope. So negative slope indicates trend is down, means weather is getting cloudy or is about to rain or whatever the current situation. Is not going to be better. It's going to get worse. Well, I like the rainy better than sunny, but some people, for those who like sunny days, bad news for you. So as we talk about early in the problem, what makes this problem is a problem. It's not the river, it's not the location, it's nothing the geographical. It's all about reading from file, parsing it, and then making calculation, and then making assumption based on these calculations. But above all, understand the problem is the most important part. Everybody can code, but we need to understand the problem. We're going to do the slope calculation by using y-axis barometric pressure and x-axis time series. We're just going to parse the data. How are we going to get these two things? We need to parse the file. We are going to load our four data sets from starts from 2012 to 2015. 20 megabytes of data. Actually, there are I think around 300,000 records, and we just going to do that. All right, so let's think about it further. So I know that I'm going to load or read the data, right? So I know that I'm going to write a function about, let's say, loading and reading the data. Well, if you don't know anything about programming languages, I will suggest to go take some beginner courses, but I assume most of you know how to read data from file. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to the function that calls read data, and I just need to give the string file name, and I'm just read this data, and that's it. And also the b parsing the data. Well, I will do the same thing in the same function. Inside of the function it's not the date, it's the data. I'm just going to read the data with one argument, string file name. And after I read and parse my data, what I'm gonna do? I got parsed the data. My data is parsed. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the slope calculation. What I'm going to use, I'm using this problem, the difference between the barometric pressure in this given time series. So, well, this gives me some hint about I might need to use helper classes, because, for example, how am I going to know the barometric pressure of given date, the first day of 2012, right? So I might be in need using some helper classes that reminds me that gives me a hint. I'm not sure about it. I'm just looking from like very general. I know that I might be needed. There might be other solution, but when I look at this picture, the parsing data and making this calculation, I know that I might need to use some helper classes like weather entry classes or something like that. That can help me very well. So anyway, let's continue our algorithm. So let's say that this is our algorithm. Well, that's not the exact algorithm, but it's close. This is our algorithm. This is my algorithm. So, and the next step after I parse my data, I'm going to do doing the slope calculation. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it do slope calculation. Okay, so how can I do the slope calculation? What I need to do is I need to know the giving dates. My test date is I'm just going to give 2 dates. My dates are already in the file, but I want to know some bit different, the date difference. I mean the time scale. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give this thing from or initial date, and also the other argument, other parameter will be string 2. It could be initial date and the final date. Between 2 dates, I'm going to find the weather trend. And what I'm gonna do is, I think that's what after making this, I think I don't need nothing else. I'm just going to wrapping up them all. So simple. It's gonna be so simple. As I said, when you see the problem at first, wow, even if you know the expertise in the programming, you actually think about it. You need to sit and think about it. It's a time consuming. So my job is whoever going to watch this video, I hope you enjoy. This is my first video in my career, and I think let's get started. We got many things to do. Yeah, let's get started. So I create my project already, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with adding my data here. I'm just going to create the files. Sorry. So I'm just going to create a new file. I want to put my data sets on it. File. Let's see. Let's see my files there. Okay. I'll come down here. I'm gonna paste in there to directory. Sorry about that. All right. Oh, okay. Well, we load our file. The file size exceeds current constant there. So we got the 4 file is around. Oh yeah, it's approximately it's 20 megabyte, but that's not a problem. So what I'm going to do is, I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to create a file. Let's start coding first. So let's see Java class. Let's see BP trends. Okay, let's create our main classes first. Okay, we create our main classes. So let's get back to our solution there. What we're going to do is we need a class that called read data. We're going to read from there. Then we're going to parse the data. We're going to do another function. And we're just going to wrap them up in the main class. Main class. Okay. All right, let's just dig in then. So let's write our first function, right? Let's write our first function is that, well, let's say and there was a string file name. So what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to read the file, right? So let's do, I know that I'm going to use some buffer or something else. Let's do try reader, and I will put new file reader, and I'm just gonna give my file name comes from reader, and it also has an exception. Well, let's add the catch close. Let's see the exception here. We can also add our exceptions to the method signature, which is here, throws, by saying that throws whatever the exception you want to throw it. But I don't want to deal with many other things there. One thing I want to show here, there's a one thing for those who use Java version above 9. Now I'm using try catch, but I can use try with resources, and I will going to use that. Actually, I'm going to use it. So I want to show one trick. So when I write buffer, or it can be a JDBC connection or whatever has a the close, let's say like that close method on it. It also means that it's a closable interface in its class signature. So whatever the class you can, it has a close function. You can use try with resources. So actually I can do the buffered on the inside there, file name. So if I used it, I don't need to write finally close or close by myself. It automatically will close. And this is what we call is try with resources. And which classes I can write here? I can just write here whichever has close method in his class signature. It could be JDBC, it could be buffer, it could be input output streams, and also basically it has closable interface. So closable interface gives you close methods. Pretty much all those classes has a closable interface which gives close method. Like you can use try with resources. You don't need to worry about the other finally classes, or you don't need to externally just write say like buff.close. You don't need to do that. Well, okay, let's keep going. So okay, here's another challenge I forgot to talk about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the data, right? And let's look at the data here. So I'm going to read data, but actually I don't need the first line. And how can I get rid of this line? Because I'm going to read line by line, but I actually don't need this first line. So I'm thinking about it. Then maybe I can do one trick to do that. I can use maybe while and the continue statements in order to get rid of this first line for each file. Okay, maybe let's start then. Let's start to do it. Well, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to define a line, because I'm going to read line by line my record, and I'm going to also I'm going to define an array, because I'm going to read my whole records and I'm just going to put it inside of the array so that I can use. So what I'm thinking is I don't need the first line. How can I do that? I need to skip the line. How can I use this? I can use maybe Boolean variable and also if condition inside of the while loop. So I think this will help me to skip the first line. So let's start our loop. Sorry about that. So what I'm going to do is, okay, let's put our first array from the buffer, and if it's the first line, it says what it says, found in buff, no, sorry, the scripted line, buff reads returns as int. So if let's think about it, how we can skip. I know that if you know about the language, you also know some kind of the things that what you need. And I know that I can use, that was the first idea comes to my mind. I can use just continue, and I can just change the Boolean variable false, then I can just make it continue and that keep going to my loop. So let's say that skip first line is true. What I'm going to do is skip first line false and continue. So what I'm going to do is, if you use inside of a loop continue, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start from the first line. I put inside of the string, then I come this if structure. I'm going to skip first line, which is true, go inside, skip first line, make it false, then continue. Continue means finish this cycle before finishing the entire loop and just start from the next line. So I already read the first line, but I'm saying that, you know what, man, just forget about it. Continue. Here's the continue. Why? Because the skip first line is a flag, kinda, is a true, but not true anymore. After reading the first line, it's not true anymore, which means if skip first line, which is false, then keep continue from that line. Just gonna continue after second loop, second cycle, let's say. So okay, one more condition, line could be null. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to break. I don't need any empty lines, or not empty, sorry, not empty, sorry, not, it's not empty actually, it's an end of file. When it comes to end of file, it actually returns null. I'm not sure about it, but I assume, but I need to consider. So let's say if null is just break, which means I think read end of line. Well, if it's not null, then what I'm going to do is the real stuff there. So what I'm going to do is, okay, so I'm just going to put inside of it. How I'm going to do it? Let's say I'm going to put inside of an array. That's the first array I have. And I know that each record is separated by tab character. So I'm going to use strip regex. Well, I'm just going to give tab. I'm just going to split them and put them in an array. So I add them in an array, but I cannot still access these equivalent, like let's see here. For example, I put them in an array, so this is the 0th element. This is the second, this is the third barometric pressure. But I don't know actually, what if I have multiple records? What I'm going to do, I'm just, how can I access them? Which means I need a collection. So I need to add all those records in a one collection, and I got a multiple records in one collection. That's what comes to my mind. So in those cases, it's better to use helper objects, helper classes, that I can make an object of weather entry that has a attributes called date, or which is when, and the pressure, and maybe humidity, or whatever you want. So that's the idea. I think you should be guessing that you need to use an helper class, and you need the object in order to keep all the records inside. Sorry about that. And all right, so let's get continue. I know that I think I need another class for records. So okay, what I'm going to need. So I know that I wanna keep a couple things together, right? So, well, it's so easy done. I need a date, and I don't want SQL. I want util. I want a util dates, and I wanna, well, a barometric pressure for sure is a float. Why I'm not using double instead of float? Float get less memory. Sorry about that. And also what I'm going to do is just well, I can add just a toString method for sure. But also I need to actually do my own stuff, my own date format, because the default is not the same one that comes from the file. So just for the extra stuff, it's not important, it's not crucial, but I just want to get in that in order to make it match with the data in the file. Well, okay. So let's say data. Sorry about that. So data for which day? That's the, let's say, data for when, right? The given date. Is, and also barometric pressure. I'm just going to use a helper class to string each. For example, if you want to make it string, I want to float. I have a float value. I want to make it string. You just need to use the helper or wrapper classes. It also calls wrapper or helper class, and then I will use the humidity as well. Well, not mandatory, but it gives an idea that if you wanna use it or if you wanna create a better report, you can, of course, use it. If you will have another function or another variable to consider in our formula, we can use that because we know how to parse it. So that's my weather trend. I got date, pressure, humidity. I don't need nothing else. So let's get back here. So what else I did so far is I've just parsed the line. I'm getting everything, my array, and also I'm just getting my records from this array one by one. So I need to create an array list, because I don't know the record. Array just has a specific size. I need an array list because array list is expandable, and the generic is a weather trend. Okay, let's add it there and collected data. List. So after Java 9, you don't need to write weather trend. It's unnecessary. But before Java 9, I think you are supposed to write. But since I'm using Java 11, I don't need to write. So I got to collect the data there. I'm just going to add my records. I'm just going to get it from the, let's say, let's create an object. New weather trends. So entry dot run. I'm still inside of my while loop, so parse. So what I'm thinking is I need to parse the data. I'm gonna get the date, but actually I didn't parse it. So I'm just gonna get the data from the file, but I also need this because it comes as a string, and I also need to parse it. So that gives me another hint that I need to parse my giving input string. So I can do that inside of there. Let's do it. Well, let's add date format. And I'm just gonna make it same that is the one in the file year, and I will just add month and day, and let's make sure that they are year. month, day, and hour, minute, second, okay. Minute, second. It should be fine now. Let's get back to here. I'm going to get this entry. I didn't parse it. It's a date object. I don't need to parse. I will parse it now. I mean, by using format parse. And then I'm just going to write, sorry about that. First array. This is my 0 element, right? Because when I look at my records, this is the first. This is the first one. I'm gonna get it seconds, third, yeah. So index starts from 0. By the way, I don't need to. I believe I don't need to tell because the arrays are starting the index from the 0. Anyway, so let's get it. Let's do the same thing for the pressure. I'm gonna use the helper class value of as a string. I don't need to do that because I know the word array is a string. Is a string array. I can use the helper classes between strings and the desired data type or primitive data type, but since using the helper classes, I don't need to worry about it. It's very convenient. Or wrapper classes as well. Well, let's get the humidity for. Okay, let's make sure when 0 index, this is 0, first 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So the barometric pressure is 3, but index is 2, d5, humidity is the 5, but index is 4. And after getting that, I can just add my data into collection, the array list, which is typo is and the weather trends. Let's say the collected data that's add, so just add entry. Well, yeah, so I got an object. Each object has an attributes. This given date can access this given humidity as well. That's so easy. I think it's the most of the part of the problem is solved. Okay, so this is the read data function. So I believe first step is completed. Let's get back to that. So this one is I just mark as a completed. Now I'm going to do the slope calculation. Well, this is also another challenge, but if you understand the problem, then you can just do it easily. Well, it takes time for me. I'm just doing I took a look at the problem. I got my own solution, and the reason that I'm doing this, it took my time to understand, because the explanations on the internet is not elaborated well, and I hope it can help. This video can help to understand, and I just want to emphasize the importance of understanding problem first, then the solution steps step by step. So anyway, let's get the other function. So the public, I will do slope calculation. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the toString input, which is the from date to date. So x2, x1, let's say. Okay, so first step, what I'm going to do is the same thing. I need to parse the date. Given the date, I need to parse them. It could be I will just using this test case. I will use this function in my test case, but it's better if I parse the date always, because I already parsed the date here, and when I do the date comparison, it has to be the same format. Otherwise, I will get different results. Well, let's say the date format new simple. What was my pattern? Let's try to take a look again. uh, year, month, day, r. Okay, let's do year, month, day, and r. And sorry about that. So okay, so I got the dates. Sorry about that. So I will define two dates because I want to convert them and I want to parse them. And then I want to compare the dates. Let's add. I don't want to add this. Did I add the SQL? It has to be util. SQL date is the older version, so now we got a new date classes after Java, I think 8. And let's parse it. I'm not using try with resources classes. I'm going to use try with catch this time because I don't have any closable in interface classes in their signature. Well, what can I do? This the format dot parse. It has a string. It takes string. So what I'm going to use is from, and d2 is the format dot parse to. Yeah, I know. So I need to do the catch. I think exception. Okay. So far, let's make sure we are on the right track. What did I do? I'm just gonna get the from date and to date. I'm just gonna get one x2 minus x1. This one is I'm just handling this problem x2 x1, and I'm just going to compare the dates that I got from my file. Then also I'm got to get the same barometric pressures. I'm gonna do the slope calculation. All right. So far, I believe so good. Let's continue then. Okay. So on the next step after the catch class, we're just going to return our result string. But what we need is in the result string is about the dates. So given the dates, so I just want to print it out the dates one more time. The results under the result string to make it easier to clear and convenient when I do my test cases. That's the reason. I'm writing this line down. Find the formats. And okay, so let's create another entry. So I got x-axis. These are the x-axes for me, and I will get these y-axes. Then I will make my slope calculation. Then after that, I will be good to go. Let's continue for the next step. So this is I think another challenge, just comparing the dates, which days to which date you need to compare. It's hard to understand what I'm trying to make it easier here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to declare 3 integer variable for x-axis and I already got y-axis, then I'm going to compare these null y-axis with d1, the dates. So we're just going to type in. I hope, I just don't want to make it complicated, but I know it takes time to understand. For me, it takes time. I'm not that fast learner, but I need to sit and understand that. So let's create it after that. So we gotta collect the data, right? I'm just gonna create it for each loop and where trends the entry and the collected data. And inside of to each trend, I'm just gonna get that for if d1 is same or before. What's d1? Entry dot when. So let's take a look. So the d1 comes with from. So my from is before or the same that the date when I'm going to compare the entry comes from the file. Then what I'm going to do is I need to understand that if y1 equals null, which is equals null, and not when compared to d1 is, well, when you do the compare dates, you got three possible solution. So it can be minus, it can be -1, it can be 0, it can be +1. So in that case, I'm thinking that d1, the date 1, is same or before than the entry dot one. Either it could be 0 or it could be bigger than 0. And what I'm going to do is y1 is the entry, the first entry, and then x1 equals idx, which is 0. And then I'm finishing the end. Well, let's think about the other way around, is date 2, because what I know is that in my file dates are sorted. I don't need to sort them again, but when I add the test cases, it may not be sorted. It may not be, it start with being from the close past, from the I think is earlier than the first argument. So the thing that I'm trying to do is to see the all occasions, because I can enter that 2012. Let's write it here. I can enter 2012 0101. That's from 2 to 2012 03 to 01. So I can just see the trends between 2 months, but I also can add that 2013 to 0101 to, let's say, 2012 0201. So in that case, if I add, I need to make sure that this date comes this instead of this, then this date comes in this. So that's what I'm doing to replacing the dates. Okay, I hope you understand that. Okay, let's continue the other part. If, let's say, entry dots when dot compare to d2, well, equals, well, let's say the 0. The same is the same for me if the date is the same. So what is this? The meaning is that if d2 is same or before than entry dot one. What I'm doing is I'm just going to compare with my record. Then after that, I'm just going to assign idx x2. What was the idx? Idx initially was 0, and so x2 I will assign to idx, and y2 equals to entry, and I will increase the idx1. So I'm not calculating the formula yet. Now I will calculate the formula. What I'm doing is that I'm just comparing the entry date by user, which is from to 2, with the every entries that I already collected inside of my collection, and I got this entries from file. First read function I parsed, then I collected the data, and then I'm just comparing the user input dates with these datas. Comes from the array list collection. Now I'm going to do the calculation, the slope calculation. Okay. And then, well, I got a mistake from there. Sorry about that. Why? I just tried to find. Oh yeah, I guess, yeah. I think one more. Oops. Okay. Let's get going. Let's keep moving the other formula. So I'm just going to. Sorry about the syntax error. I'm just writing the code first time. Completely. I wrote my solution to the paper already, but I'm just going to think about it. I'm not sure. I hope it's going to work on the first time. But the main purpose is learning, guys. Just please don't judge me. It's my first video in my life. I wasn't even thinking about it, but I actually was so sad that all tutorials videos are. It's actually a lack of in elaboration. Anyway, so let's calculate our formula. We know how to calculate it, right? I show it here. We're just going to get the y2, y1, and and divide x2, x1. So we're just going to do that y2 pressure, that y1 pressure, giving in time. So easy. After that, so easy. But the main purpose, main challenge was the above steps, and I think I can just update the result now. I already created the results there. Here, the result is result plus. Shear slope is string dots. I want to format. I think so. The string format got string. Okay, so let's give it a string there, and 6f. I want to do that way. Slope, and let's do the forecast is, let's say. Then after that I will just create this one, and as I mentioned earlier, let's create a trend analysis there. What kind of weather we are expecting, and what the trend will be. So if the slope is minus, which is weather is getting worse, or that might not be the exactly what I'm saying, just nothing is not, barometric pressure is getting low, is getting decreasing, which is not good for those who enjoy in the sound. Neither is closing and set. I'm sorry about that. Sometimes it might be confusing, and then I'm just gonna do the else if. We got 3 options about it, and slope equals 0. Then results equals results plus, and I think the current conditions are likely to persist. Well, if it's sunny, it's gonna be sunny. Good news. If it's rainy, it's going to be rainy. Nothing is going to change. And also my other condition is the positive one. Result equals result plus conditions are improving, and let's add the. Okay, then after that, this is the string. I need to return this result. Sorry about that. Some shortcuts. Okay, so my 2 functions are working, and I need to wrap them up together. I need to write my test cases. I believe this is also done. I'm not sure about it. This is also completed, I believe. Now we are on this part. Okay, so the main method is the I like the main method, honestly, and well, this is the last part. We're just going to write 3 different case, or let's say maybe 2 case 1. Maybe we can write other cases as well. Well, let's just write the 2 cases and see. Could be 3. You cannot write even your own cases. We can even write something from file. Let's write and see. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, so I gotta read data. So BP trends, and okay, let's create a BP trends, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create an instance of this class so that I can use it inside of my main. And well, let's read our files first, right? We actually wrote a function, but we never use it. So let's say that reading data dot. One more. We're just gonna. Sorry about that. Let's call our read data function here. Let's give the so since it's under directed, I can just say environmental data 2012, and of course most of you know that I also give the whole file name, and 2015. Yeah, so let's change it is 2014 2015, and also give that result. Wow, all files have been processed. It could be a spell issue, I'm sorry about that. Well, okay, let's get, and okay, yeah, let's find it, right? We can also find it since we're in the array list. We can also find how many records we have. So I think this is the another excited part of programming, that those small things you can actually see what is the size of the data you have. And since we're in the array list, right, why not? Let's try it. Calc trend dot collected data dot size. There we go. Okay, so let's do string from empty string and string to another empty string. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's do our first print case, test cases. Test case 1. So that's from, let's see, 2012 and 01, 01, 00, let's say midnight. Let's say the midnight, and let's say 2 hours change in the given period of time. I want to see 2 hours of change. 01. I want to see 2 hours of change. It could be days too. It could be years too. But of course, we know that we are expecting that we will be seeing a different trend for a year, because it's better to keep it some data in accurate in a couple hours. We not considering the other things for like humidity. We not issuing that. We just took the humidity, but we're not actually using it. Well, let's see other case. I thought, and this is the second test case. Case from, and in that case I'm going to get some, maybe 2 days. Let's get the 2 days then. Which days? I don't want to get the same file. I want to get something from different file. Let's say 03 and 15 and 10 30 o'clock in the morning. 2 equals 2013 03. Sorry about that. 03. I think it's 2 days I want to get in. Let's give the different size, and yeah. Calc trend to slope calculation from 2. There we go. Well, let's see the most excited part, that we finished our function there. Everything's, we don't have any error, and let's see, are we gonna get any errors on it? So let's see that. Let's run our function. Oh, okay, we got a problem in that case. So what was the well, index 2 out of 1. Index 2 out of 1, so 91. Okay, read data got a problem. The pressure words array 02 and 01. So we did a mistake there. No, I think actually that shouldn't mean that way. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's, I'm sorry, that's for this mistake. Yep. Oh yeah, there we go. So test. Okay, So total number of entries, wow, it actually is more than 300,000. So the test case one from given these dates, sorry about that, we gotta two reading data. Where is the two? I think two is two. Let's try it again. I want to make it perfect. So okay, let's see them. Well, these are actually minus. It's very slow. Conditions are for inclement weather is closing in. Conditions are in improvement. So these are very slow, like small pieces, but that shows that our program is working well. And I think that's it. It's been an hour. I hope you understand the algorithm behind it. I just want to sum up together. What did we do is that our approaches was simple. We understand the problem. That the question is to making slope calculation by using barometric pressure and the time series. What and we got also three conditions that the barometric pressures, if positive slope, the weather trend is going better, and negative is the trend is down, and the zero slope no significant change. What did we did? Algorithm behind it consists of four step and the tree function. We load the read data by using read data, the file name. What did we do is we just skip the first line by using if and they continue. After that we parse the data here. Let me show it to you. There we parse the data and we parse the data there, and here we parse the data. Then that moment I understand that I need to use an object helper classes. I use the entry there, I use the object, and after that I just keep the all records and a list of weather trend object. I add my all records there so that I can access for requested giving time. In that time I was able to access this pressure and the humidity records as well. I knew that's a hint that I need to use object structure and also array list there. After that I did the slope calculation. This is also another challenge part, that what I'm doing is just giving these two dates. As you see, there's the giving dates. This is from, this is to. I'm just checking these differences with the records, and after that I'm just making the difference of the barometric pressures, and after that just making the slope calculation. And based on slope calculation, if it's smaller than zero, I'm getting this text. I'm just adding the result, and if it's equal to zero, and if it's is more than zero, conditions are improving. And after that I just wrote the test cases. I can also write the unit cases by using JUnit, but that's not a challenge in this problem. I hope you enjoy. It's in our tutorial, and sorry about some mistakes I made. This is my first video, and the purpose is to teach the approach. Of course, there are also solutions on the internet you can see, and I hope you enjoy. You can reach me from LinkedIn. I will always like to show. This is my LinkedIn. You can always reach me, and if you want to add, I will also share in my GitHub. I will also upload this in my GitHub, and you can also add, make some contributions, or discuss about the other problems, or just whatever you would like to do. And this is the first problem. We will have another problem. I will be seeing you. I will be also talking about the other remain five remain problem. Thank you very much for listening. Until then, see you.